We're just checking with AV that we're good to go. We're good to go. I've just seen the thumbs up. Well, welcome everybody to PitchFest 2021. I really am genuinely delighted to welcome you all here today. These competitions and this kind of thing that we do as a university really are so special to us, and I think what it means to be a university. So thank you all very much for your involvement, whether you're one of the pitchers or one of the people who've been helping support the pitchers along the way, or just someone who's interested and wanted to be part of it. It's really important before we get going that we do acknowledge the land that we're standing on at the moment, and it's the Wadjak Budja of the Noongar Nation. So many significant lands that we have around here, being on the Swan River. But just to tell you, the land that Murdoch University is situated on in South Street has actually been a place of learning for thousands of years. And it's really a privilege that as a university we get to be on that land and continue that tradition of learning. And I hope that we do as good a job as our traditional owners have done over the time. So I do pay my respect to the traditional owners, past, present, and those who are obviously emerging as well. So let's tell you a bit about Murdoch University. So Murdoch University is coming up to its 50th birthday, and it was named after a gentleman called Sir Walter Murdoch, not Rupert Murdoch, Sir Walter Murdoch, and he was a famous scholar and essayist. And when he was asked whether or not he would be happy for the university to be named after him, he said, well, he thought for a moment, and he said, yes, as long as you make it a good one. And when you think, well, what does a good one mean to Sir Walter? What would that have meant to him? I'll give you a quick quotation that he came out with, and I think it was back in the 1920s that he said this, 1926 in fact. He said in 1926, so quite a forward thinker, the only education out of which good can come is the education which teaches you to think for yourself, instead of swallowing whatever the fashion of the moment may prescribe. And hopefully the experience that you've been having as part of PitchFest and as part of the Launchpad Academy is living up to that. It's giving you your opportunity to, I know it's our tag phrase, but I'm going to use it, to free your think, to take your ideas and take them out there and see what you can do with them by exploring and experimenting with them. We're really proud of the Launchpad that we have at Murdoch University. It was established about 3.5 years ago with a lot of hard work from the likes of Matthew Evans and Mel Malloy, who's in the room. And we set it up for a reason. We wanted to have a space in the university that could be more than just the degree that students come to do. We wanted a space where students could go and really have a really creative experience and be able to experiment and to be able to explore their different ideas. We also wanted a place where people could come together and collaborate easily and meet people from different disciplines and share, what you've learnt from your different areas and find out how you could build on that and go further. But we also wanted a place where you could connect, and you could connect with people outside of the university as well. And that's why we were really, really delighted. Just before we opened the Launchpad, I got to have a conversation with a gentleman called Jeremy Chetty, who's going to be our MC today. And immediately I had a big grin on my face because he just got it. He got exactly what we were trying to achieve. And he very early on said, well, yes, I will take up the role of being the entrepreneur in residence. And what he's been able to bring to the Launchpad has been absolutely extraordinary and helped staff, students, external people, the community so much in his role. So thank you, Jeremy, for your involvement there. So the Launchpad's been going for 3.5 years. It's run hundreds of different activities. It's linked people up and created this opportunity for people to come, create, connect and collaborate, which I'm really proud of. And one of the things we do are events like this, so pitches. It's had a few different names over the years, but this kind of competition we have been doing for a number of years now. And we've done different iterations. We've had opportunities where we've actually run it in Singapore with all 3 of our campuses, Dubai, Singaporean students and Perth students, which has been absolutely fantastic. We've also done iterations where we've done it purely online. We moved last year to an iteration where we have embedded it into the Spark Festival, so that's been really exciting. And this year it's had a new feel to it again, where we've included it as part of the Launch Academy. So I hope that's been a really great experience for you all, and it'd be lovely to hear your feedback about how we can continue to build and make the Launch Academy even stronger in years to come. So I'm not going to say much more, but I'm going to do a couple of thank yous, because this thing doesn't happen on its own. There's a lot of hard work that goes on, and it's not all from within the university. I know that we've got external people who've really contributed to making PitchFest 2021 work. So we've had external people who've come in and delivered workshops for the Academy and for our pitchers that are here tonight. And we've also had people who've been our startup mentors that have really helped each of the different teams in developing their ideas, practicing their pitches to get them to where they are now. So thank you all for being part of it. But the biggest thank you, I think, goes to the set of people over here who are our pitchers. Because to put your hand up to do something that's a bit different like this is very brave of you. And I admire every single one of you. And, you know, tonight is about having an experience. I know at the end of the day, someone will be announced as a winner, and that's great. But the experience is the thing. So by actually just being part of this, of having this experience and getting to where you are, is fabulous. And I will just say by saying, this is where you are now. Tonight is not the end of it, because you've all got ideas, you've all collaborated, and you've all got an opportunity to take this further. Our previous pitchers have all taken things further and had great success. But don't think, oh, okay, that's done now. Don't have to think about it again. Keep thinking about, well, what have I learned? How could I take that? Or is there something still here that we want to continue and build? So I wish you all the best tonight. Enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it, so make sure you do. And yes, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much for that, Romy, and thanks for setting the scene and giving an introduction to Murdoch University and Launchpad. And also thanks for the kind words as well. Really appreciate it, and likewise, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jeremy Chetty. I'm the Entree in Residence here at Murdoch University and Launchpad. I'll be MC for today. So I've got the tough job of keeping things to time. We are running over time, but I will try and get everything on time as much as I can. We are live streaming, so welcome to everybody online as well. And we are taking photos and video, so if you don't want your photo, just let us know if you don't want that either. But yeah, let's get started. I just want to give a quick overview of actually PitchFest. So this has been a culmination, and I'm looking at our students because it's been a journey of the last 12 weeks of really personally challenging themselves. And that's what I want to make clear about Launchpad, this academy, is it's not just another accelerator program. It's not a boot camp. We set this up exclusively as a program, an exclusive program for students at Murdoch to basically challenge themselves. And sure, it's a fast track in terms of helping you entrepreneurial, because that's most of the content. But it was an opportunity for our academics, industry, and the students themselves to all connect and work together, solving real-world problems. And you're going to see the evidence or the results of these ideas that the students are going to pitch today of those 12 weeks of work. I want to also acknowledge our mentors, our industry partners, our academics that have been on this journey for the last 12 weeks. So we've got through it, and of course our students. Well done for getting here. I also want to make a distinction as well about Launchpad Academy, that today's not about just pitching a business to win money, although they are. Today is an opportunity to actually showcase their skills of what they've learned over the last 12 weeks. There are students here that are not pitching today. They were actually part of the program, but weren't comfortable in pitching or weren't ready. But that's okay, because the last 12 weeks they did learn a lot and made new introductions and networks and connections. So I just wanted to make that distinction that although it's a pitch fest, and that's what we'll hear about today, and they will be pitching to win some money, and there'll be some judges, but the program was not set up to be an accelerator program or boot camp. This is something different. that we are proud of as Murdoch University in this space, that we're doing something exclusive that is an academy, that has opened doors for students beyond today. So yeah, so that's a bit of an overview of Launchpad Academy, and this is our inaugural cohort in terms of the academy. So thank you, students, for getting here, pat in the back. I just want to explain how pitch works this afternoon. 3 minutes is given to each of the founders, and they're all teams, but one person will be presenting on behalf of their team. They get 3 minutes, and then I'll ask a question at the end, usually 1 minute, but I'll also throw to the judges as well. So if you've got a question, you can ask one as well. But yeah, 3 minutes, and then we'll go through. We've got 9 teams today, so we'll try and keep it on time. But I'm excited to see the students up on stage and pitching their ideas. Before we get started and get to the pitches, I'd love to actually introduce our judges for today. And thank you very much for making time this afternoon to help out and judge. So obviously our Interim Vice-Chancellor, Professor Romy Lawson, thank you. Our Director of Student and Library Services, Matthew Evans, and our partner in crime on campus. Scott Wheeler, founder and owner of Springs Wholesale, and May Yong. Thank you very much from Turban Chopsticks, founder and director. Thank you for helping judge. And of course, Sandra Draper, who leads the innovation team at JETSI, which is part of the government. So thank you all for making time again this afternoon to help with the judging. So let's get started. Like I said, students have 3 minutes. I'd like to introduce our first team, team number 1, which is called Our Impact, and I'd like to introduce the founder, James, to the stage. Put your hands together for James.
Hi, I'm James and I'm the founder of Our Impact. So one night I was watching a documentary with my mum about fast fashion, and in that it discussed the cost of products and how it was actually unknown for consumers. My mum said to me, wouldn't it be cool if there was an app to know the true cost of the products you purchase? And I was like, yeah, wouldn't that be pretty cool? Welcome to Our Impact, an app that allows consumers to visualize their environmental impact of the products they purchase. And here's a short video demonstrating how it works.
This is Sam. Sam is looking for a new shirt. She wants to find a shirt that looks great, but also wants to know what materials it is made from. So, Sam opens the Our Impact app on her phone and scans the label. Now Sam not only knows what materials the shirt is made from, but how environmentally friendly the shirt is.
So, over the past month, I've released my landing page. In my landing page, I had a sign-up form, and in this sign-up form, I got 34 sign-ups. Out of these 34 sign-ups, I got 21 people saying they'd also be interested in signing up for this app, purchasing this app. Out of this, I found my target audience, females between the age of 15 to 30. However, this is a growing movement, and it is not just limited to these age groups or gender. I also reached out to businesses. I've reached out to 38 businesses across the globe who release eco-friendly clothing brands. I'm currently in talks with about a dozen of these about potential partnerships. So competition. Competition-wise, there's 2 main competitors, Good On You and Greener. However, we share similarities in our values. We do not have the same products, and they do not achieve what I plan to achieve with my app. Financing. So I've estimated an initial cost of $50,000 to start up. This cost will be split between hiring an app designer for the UI and UX and marketing. I don't need to pay it for a developer, as I'm the developer myself, and there's no need to hire someone for that. The app will cost $5 a single time. This means that we'll need about 10,000 people to sign up, 1,000 people to sign up to make profit. So my ask to you, the audience, is to sign up today. I'd also be interested in getting to know anyone who works with eco-friendly brands and businesses, as they're who I need to work with. And for $50,000, I'm looking to share 10% of my business. Thank you.
James, thanks very much for that, and well done. So just a question around the brands. So obviously, do you need the brands obviously to participate? And what's been their feedback if you have asked them?
Yeah, so I need the brands for feedback. I need the brands for partnerships because without the brands, I'm not actually going to be able to get the information I need to know about the supply chain and all that. Most of them are already willing to give me the supply chain, but that is because they are eco-friendly brands and they have all that. So the issue for me will be some of your bigger brands, you know, Kmart, Gucci, what have you. I feel like they're going to be less willing to give me their supply chain, but that's something that I can work on finding a solution for later down the track.
Yeah, or our audience could help if they have any connections there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome, thanks very much,
Thank
James.
you.
Well done. Round of applause again for James. Thank you. Team number 2, I'd like to welcome Shayna from FutureWorks. Shayna.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shayna Makapagal. I'm the founder and CEO of FutureWorks. FutureWorks is an online website designed to help parents, students, and teachers interact and communicate with each other with the purpose of helping students make the right choices for their futures. I believe most of us here have had that tough moment in life where we've had to decide on choices that ultimately affect our future. And oftentimes we are uncertain because we often lack the guidance and help from our schools and teachers. And when we are certain, sometimes our parents may not agree with what we want to do in life because of their expectations, and their worldviews are limited to what they've seen in their lives, and they're often unable to help a young person. And because of this, students find it difficult to express their true desires for their futures. I'm going through this problem as a first-generation university student in my family with a Filipino background, and I'm doing a course in uni that my parents wanted me to do. However, I'm not happy, and I want to help those who are like me. Recent studies in New South Wales have found that 43% of students do not know what they want to do when they leave high school. 81% plan on going to uni, however, 25% of those are unsure of what they want to do and what career they want to pursue. Without a clear idea of their future, they're often entering into courses they are not truly passionate about. And this is one of the biggest factors why 20% of students drop out of their university degrees each year. Through FutureWorks, students, parents, and teachers can communicate in a neutral environment with each other, and they can be informed about the educational institution and the educational system. This website will be integrated into the LMS of educational institutions. I've started building my website through Envision app to gain further feedback. By doing qualitative research, asking a question set to my target market of young adults aged 15 to 24, I have found that my theory of the problem was correct, and this validated my thinking of this solution. FutureWorks is a business-to-business model and will work with educational institutions and will monetize through educational ad banner apps like Grammarly and White Smoke that have educational purposes. My ask is an investment of $100,000 to develop a website and to hire staff and other costs. I hope you will join me in bringing FutureWorks into every university, household, TAFEs across the globe. Thank you for listening.
Don't go anywhere. Firstly, well done. Thanks, Shayna. Thanks for sharing your story, because the why of your startup is very important. And this is obviously a problem that really resonates with me at Student Edge as well, so thank you. I might throw to the judges if you've got a question. At all?
How are you going
Oh, sorry, we'll get a mic. Actually, there's a mic there, sorry.
I'm just interested to say, if you're going to integrate it into the LMS of an institution, how are you going to ensure students have an opportunity to access it before choosing the course rather than after they've already chosen their course?
I'd have it. I was talking about high school students there as well, so age 15 to 24, just about before they start to choose their careers in university. I want them to have that support about like what they're going into in choosing that course that they want to do and what possible careers they would have after graduating.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks, Shana. Round of applause again for Shana. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome Team 3, but I've got a sensitive topic warning. This pitch talks about sexual violence. So if there's any trigger for anybody in the room or online, for the next 3 minutes, maybe opt out, or if you leave the room, I just thought I'd just give you that sensitive topic warning. But I'd like to welcome Oakley from Project Lieve. Oakley.
The bouncers at the court kicked me out when I was so drunk I couldn't see straight. They just left me at the side of the road. I was taken from the court by a stranger and raped in an abandoned house somewhere in Northbridge. I was fingered without consent at one of the safe events at Lievers. I felt too much shame and guilt to report, and the trauma has ruined my life. These two experiences happened less than 1.5 kilometres from where you're all sitting at the moment. I have 51 more of these submitted to me in the last few weeks alone as part of an events experience survey that I conducted. In fact, 76% of respondents have experienced sexual harm at an event or venue in Perth. Only 6% were able to comfortably report. My name is Oakley. I'm the founder of Project Lieve, a technology solution to bypass the current problematic and damaging sexual harm reporting system that we have in place. In 2018, I started a creative media business for concerts and events, and in that time, I've built up a wide network of voices that have helped to shape what is now the 9th iteration of this technology. The technology is actually very simple. For the user, all you need to do is jump onto our website, enter in a few details to instantly receive your digital event passport. That is used to scan into events, receive your barcoded wristband, where you then head on in and have a lovely night. When you do witness or experience sexual harm, we are here for you. There are trained and identifiable floor staff who are able to take you aside, scan your wristband, enter in your report details, and liaise with security so that the perpetrator can be removed and their band will be taken. That band is then scanned and added into the perpetrator section of the report so that they are then sent either a warning or a ban notice based on a tier system. All this technology and the training required is bundled up and leased out to different venues at a simple subscription cost, which is calculated specifically for that venue. Large-scale events, one-off events, are able to have short-term installations that we develop specifically for them. This business-to-business subscription model helps to streamline long-term client relationships and has allowed me to already utilise some of the connections I have with some of the largest venues and clubs in Perth. What venues are actually going to gain from this is a much wider potential patron base. They're also going to be able to have live trackable data from these patrons, including peak entry times to the second, age and gender distribution, and performance reports from their events. They'll also save up to $50,000 for every single instance of sexual assault that occurs on their premise by avoiding these negligence costs. I'm already in contact and in discussions with 7 major Perth organisations about implementing this project, including Paramount Nightclub and the Rosemount Hotel as trial venues. What I'm asking for is for $17,000 in seed funding, and that's going to help us to take those next steps on our development, which is developing our codeless MVP, testing at these events before heading into our full development phase to make the program. I'm also looking to chat with database developers and software engineers, along with connections in local government, and of course, anyone in the Perth events community. Your experiences are very valid and incredibly powerful, so if you're willing to share, I would love to be able to help your voice to make a difference. Thank you so much.
Well done. Thanks very much for that, Oakley. Just looking at the judges for any questions. Remy?
Thank you for that presentation. It was very powerful. A question, when the people are reporting, can they do it anonymously? Because I know from the experience that we have had on campus that a lot of people don't want to have to put their name to things, but they still want the incident to be acknowledged. So is that possible through your system?
Yeah, so the system itself does not record any names of the people who are actually reporting, and that information is not shared with, especially not the perpetrator. They are able to anonymously report. However, we usually like to collect that barcode data in case of instances of false reporting, where if someone wants to appeal it, we want to be able to have all the information that we can to help with that legal process.
And if I can just ask a follow-up, is there then any connect on to any kind of the police, basically, you know, that data is ever given to, or is that just at the discretion of the event?
Yeah, so when the victim is reporting, they're going to be speaking to one of our trained staff who are going to be able to assess the actual situation that has happened, look into and speak to them about what legal options are available, administer things like mental health first aid, actual first aid, call an ambulance, friends, family. They're going to be able to help to sort that out.
Thank you for those answers.
Thank you so much, Remy.
Round of applause for Oakley. Thank you very much, Oakley. Well done. Thank you. All right. I'd like to welcome Rajan, who's Team 4 from a startup called Robotic Automation. Thank you, Rajan.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Rizan Chapagai, and I'm final semester student of Bachelor in Mobile and Web Application Development. I'd like to start with a question tonight. Did you know that a small clinic can save about 200 man-hour by saving about $1,000 each year by automating their manual form processing? And this number can go higher if the clinic is bigger. And also another problem is, a couple of months back, I sat down with university staff and we had to deal with forms. And they said that it's quite overwhelming at the beginning and end of each semester, as they have to deal with lots of forms. So this is the step that they have to follow when dealing with form requests are they have to open the email when requester sends it, and they have to download it, save it, and extract the detail, and take action based on the form. And that could be forwarding it to manager or replying it to the requester. And sometimes there is error in the form as well, so they have to go back to the form and recheck the details and update it again. So they have to do the similar things for all types of forms. So we bring up the robotic automation solution. It will check the email by itself, and if the new email arrives in the box, and the system will check the details, save the file to the local folder, process it, and if the file is corrupt, then it will flag the file for manual processing. Otherwise, it will forward the file to manager or associated person if their action is required. So this improves the quality of data collection, and it will have high accuracy. And so it also improves the customer experience by automatically replying them instantly. And there are some companies that do some level of automation, but not specifically to the form automation. And also many clinics and universities are not aware that this level of automation is doable. So our business model is we'll serve as software as a service, where we sell on subscription basis with $1,000 quarterly for existing robot, and that will serve pre-developed robot, and $3,000 to $10,000 for a custom robot. It will be based on their requirements. And the solution could help over thousands of companies based in Perth and many more overseas who are facing similar types of problems. There are over 200 clinics in Australia and over 1,200 in Western Australia, where 50% of them still uses handwritten or handwritten form format. If we got 5% of this market, it would generate about $300 yearly. And to be noted, this service is not only for clinics. Our potential customers are universities, hospitals, hotel industries, and others who have to deal with forms and similar problems. To take this project further, I'm looking for a marketing expert, communication and project management expert to join our team. We're looking for a 25 grand fund. As I'm a software developer, I will develop the software by myself, but I will use the fund for the subscription to IBM, RPA, or other software development tools. And also, we will invest in marketing, where we need to put extra effort, as existing companies are unknown to many potential clients. And our ask is we need help to do a software trial in a clinic to identify the real-world impact of our software. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that, Rajan. Any from the audience? Yeah, there you go, from the judges, sorry. May.
Are there any competitors in the space at the moment?
Yes, so there's some companies like Deloitte, Honeywell, and SAIS who deal with automation, but they don't do like specifically to the farm automation. So it's a big corporation, yeah, and small companies are falling behind to adopt this type of automation.
So do they have the form automation already? Are they offering that already, or?
I need to do a detailed research on that, but as far as I'm concerned, small clinics and small corporations are not aware of this automation.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks very much for that. Thanks, Rajan. Round of applause for Rajan. Thank you. It's always handy when you're a software developer, isn't it? Hey? It's no cost for software development. Yeah. Love it, love it. Well done, Rajan. And I think, I won't say anything, but I think our COO of the university is in the room somewhere, so he might be a good person to have a chat with about automation. Well done, Rajan. Okay, I'd love to welcome our next team. So, Team 5, the Fluency Project, I'd like to welcome Luke Derrick. Luke.
G'day everyone, my name is Luke and I've been working with Harry and Siobhan on what we are calling the Fluency Project. So we've responded to seeing Indigenous languages around the country continue to decline quite dramatically, and as someone from a multicultural background, that I find that quite sad. So what we want to do is provide tools for communities to help them rebuild language. Of the almost 500 languages across the country, 90% of them are considered endangered, and only 13 are being transmitted to children. And despite the government efforts, different community projects, this isn't being reversed. So we want to step in where we can and provide a tool to help communities with that. Language is incredibly important for a community's sense of identity. It helps people connect with their history, their identity, their past. I've got a quote here from Noam Chomsky, a very famous linguist. He said, "Language is not just words, it's culture and it's tradition. It's a unification of a community and it's a history that creates what that community is, all embodied in language." And so keeping language alive is incredibly important. So what we want to do is work collaboratively and partner with communities. We want to create tools. We want to see passion for language grow across the country. So the actual product of what we're putting together, we're working on machine translation software, engineering different solutions to overcome the technical problems that arise when you're looking at smaller languages like Indigenous languages across the country. So this is the first iteration, the first sort of prototype that I put together a couple of years ago with the help of a couple of friends. Since then, we've sort of developed it further, but very simply, you write in language and it comes out with another language. The idea is that what I think is really exciting about this, once you get one system for one language really developed and strong, you can take down the linguistic data for one language and theoretically replace it with another language. And that way you can transpose the technology and the software from language to language. effectively providing an open source translation mechanic for communities across the country and potentially around the world. And that's something that I'm quite passionate about and excited about. So yeah, we're asking for 50 grand to get a software development team on board, and we are asking for networks and partners to help develop stronger community relationships. Thank you.
Well done, Luke. A very useful tool, I can see. Now, I've got a heap of questions I could ask about this.
Mate.
But let's just throw to the judges. You got any questions? Yeah, Scott?
Yeah. How are you, great idea, but how are you identifying your customers? Like, how are they going to go, yeah, I need that? Like, what's your sell point to them?
In my experience, this particular product it's a little bit like it just catches fire. So when I go to communities, when I speak to communities, contacts, friends, it's something that just sort of catches fire and grows from there. Indigenous communities are very close-knit networks, and I think that's how it'll take off. And in my experience, that's how these kind of projects have taken off. The issue has been lack of funding, and the size of the languages and communities have made it difficult to get momentum for different projects to sustain for long periods of time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks, Luke. So now I'd like to welcome Team 6, Empowered Beauty Products. I'd like to welcome Ruva to the stage. Welcome, Ruva.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Riva, and I am the founder of Empowered Cosmetics. Tonight, I'm going to be talking to you about the effects that hair relaxers are having on colored women. Did you know that women who use hair relaxers have a 31% chance of getting breast cancer? Did you also know that colored women relax their hair on average 7 times per year, and some more than others? So what are hair relaxers and why are they such a big deal? How do they work? And once again, what is the problem? Hair relaxers are chemicals that break down your hair protein, essentially turning your pattern from curly to straight. This is done so you're deemed more acceptable in society, and for others, just for a way to feel beautiful. The problem associated with hair relaxers, however, is that over time, as you can see, they cause hair loss, chemically induced alopecia, and can even burn your skin. The other problem that's also associated with hair relaxers that recent study has shown is that they contain endocrine disruptors. Endocrine disruptors are known to increase your hormone levels, leaving you more vulnerable to hormone-driven cancers such as breast cancer and ovarian cancer. The other sad thing is that majority of the women using these hair relaxers are unaware of the toxins that are getting into their bodies, and the cosmetic manufacturers continue to sell these products. I'm working on a solution that is 3-in-1, a non-toxic hormone-friendly conditioner that is also a moisturizer. It is going to be a leave-in conditioner simply because most colored women prefer to have leave-in conditioners, as this maintains their hair and keeps it more moisturized for longer periods of time. My hair solution will work as shown up there. Basically, you can put it in your hair. It can temporarily loosen your curl pattern. You style your hair however you want, but you can still have your natural hair back. It's not permanent, and it's not toxic, and it's easily accessible. According to the market research I've done, there's only one other similar product on the market. However, this product is only available in the United States of America currently, and it works with a combination of other products, thus making it more expensive and taxing to use. I also researched into my market, and I got most women do prefer leave-in conditioners, and most of them are still having challenges with their hair. So there is a demand for this product in the market. I'm asking for an investment of $52,000 to help with the marketing, the research and development, the legal fees, the licensing. I'm also asking for connection to chemists as well as cosmetic manufacturers that are in the field in order for us to work on the best solutions for colored women. I'm also asking for connections to lawyers as well as industry consultants so that we can comply with industry laws. Ladies and gentlemen, before I leave, I'll ask you a question. Would any of you here trade your life for a hairstyle? And if the answer is no, why on earth should colored women have to? Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Yes, I can see yeses. A question from the judges. May? Oh, we'll get a mic. Thank you. Well done, Ray.
Excellent presentation and delivery. So have you developed the product yet, or you're yet to develop that prototype?
We're yet to develop the prototype, but we have started talking to cosmetic manufacturers who have given us the quotations. Yeah, so we're working on that.
Thank you. I think there's a great
I see your
opportunity.
brain,
I
I
think
see your
it's,
brain.
yes, I'm thinking manufacturing costs. No, great product.
Thank you.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Round of applause again from Ruben. Obviously, I won't be using your product, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. Love to welcome the next team to the stage. Team number 7. I'd love to welcome Rachel, the founder of Lucid Learning. Welcome, Rachel.
I'm Rachel Lucid, and thank you so much for joining me. Have you or anyone you know ever experienced a medical mishap in hospital? Right, I might need a clicker. Thanks. I didn't see any hands up. Any? Thank you for participating. So, 50% of so human error is responsible for 50% of adverse hospital events in developed countries at a cost of $4.1 billion per year. That's the Australian sector. Now, there's been a few reports, which I won't discuss because I have 4 minutes. But if you'd like to check them out, they're on board. So wouldn't it be nice? Couldn't we imagine to have 0 preventable deaths in our hospitals? So there are deficiencies in communication in hospitals affecting patient safety. So the Australian Safety Commission has requested for a couple of decades actually for a focus on communications training. They do have other options which I also am time limited, so I won't discuss that either. So I'm proposing, after conversations with nurse educators at several hospitals and at Murdoch University, to create an e-toolkit. So that will offer the nurse educator support to teach their classes. So it's a blended delivery of online and face-to-face. I've put together an LMS in Moodle just to prototype it so that I can test and iterate with the nursing educators that I've been in conversation with this year. The main idea is to use theatre improv exercises, so ludic learning, ludic fun. Okay? So the clinical nurse would have access to a virtual coach, which would replace a theatre practitioner. And they are able to run the class because they're the content expert and they can lead them through their reflective process, whereas the practitioner from the theatre wouldn't have that knowledge. So the business model I'm proposing is a subscription-based training opportunity. And we've got the modules here that learners can choose from. So they would be in the class physically, operating the board and choosing the direction of their learning, which is a major important focus for tertiary in education at the moment, for them to be able to personalise their learning and drive their own learning. and then they would have the support of the nurse educator there, and the nurse educator would have the support of the virtual coach. Okay. So the MVP that I've put together will be trialled with some nurse educators at Fiona Stanley and Royal Perth, and also at Murdoch University. And then it can expand to other hospitals and other tertiary institutions. I would also like, after we've tested and iterated it, because I've just thrown together this LMS myself, I'm a theatre practitioner, so I would like to talk with people in AR and mixed reality to boost those opportunities for personalising the learning. Requesting seed funding of $25,000 to put together the MVP just to get a pilot together through the e-learning module that I've created. My background is in theatre and dance and also in education, a bunch of other stuff that I won't bore you with. So there will be opportunities for people, designers, developers and marketing experts to come on board. And I have a little QR code here which you can also access on my LinkedIn site, which would allow you to participate in a design thinking project that I've put together. If you're a nurse or a carer or you've been a patient, I would like to hear from you. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, you've already got mine. Cool. Thanks very much for that, Rachel. Well done.
Thank you.
Questions? Okay. So, what's been the feedback from some of your potential clients? So you put a few up on the board, but say Fiona Stanley, what's been the response? Is this something, because obviously you're going into a very big space,
yes,
with a lot of regulation and rules and so forth.
Indeed.
They're open to it. I guess, yeah, what's been the initial reaction? Were they willing to, trial this MVP?
I've been nicely surprised. I have been studying this as a part of my master's project, so I've had a lot of time to put together my presentation. So everyone I've approached has said, great, we aren't using theatre improv yet because it's just started in America. So I've had feedback from people in America that are interested as well, so particularly doctors and nurses and clinical practitioners. And what's happening is they've got in situ learning and they've got simulated learning, but it's not quite helping with the learning to practice gap for nursing, which is why I chose to focus on them. It can obviously be applied to schools for people with dyslexia. Could go anywhere with this. So yeah, the response was surprisingly positive, and I've got meetings booked up for next week with different nurse educators. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Good on you. Thank you, Rachel. Round of applause of Rachel. And I guess what's trending in the US usually trends over here, right? Well done. Thank you, Rachel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've only got 2 more pitches to go. So pat in the back to all of you for listening and keeping your attention through all these pitches. I know what it's like. So we've only got 2 more pitches to go. So I'd like to welcome Team 8, Acquire Sand, founder Matthew Davis. Round of applause for Matthew Davis.
Hi, I'm Matthew Davis. I'm a computer science student at Murdoch, and I'm the founder of Acquire Sand. So I had a hand-me-down PC in high school, and like most hand-me-down PCs, eventually it was ready for an upgrade. I went to eBay to look for a good value used part that fit my budget. I spent 5 hours compiling 50 pages of eBay listings and comparing them with benchmark scores from another website to ensure I was getting the best value product. It worked, but why was that necessary, both for me and Linus of Linus Tech Tips, a 14 million subscriber YouTuber? Well, it's simple. As soon as you start comparing 2 different products, things get tricky. It's like comparing apples to oranges. There's often a lot of different properties to consider, and it's hard to assess their values accurately. But what I really needed back then was just a good enough recommendation, not necessarily a perfect one, but no merchant could offer me one. Acquire Sand. We aggregate product listings from the biggest and smallest online retailers into a single interface, sorted by value by default. We estimate performance where our competitors don't, so the first listing you see is the best value listing available online. If value isn't the only thing you're looking for, we have filters to meet your requirements in terms of budget, minimum level of performance, brand-specific features, and more. So how and why GPUs? Well, we're affiliated with large online retailers such as eBay, Newegg, and Amazon, and get anywhere from a 2 to 5% kickback for transactions we refer. An estimated 240,000 GPUs sold on eBay US last year alone. On average, GPUs sell for around $500 US, meaning that's a potential $2.4 to $6 million in revenue for Acquire Sand. Now keep in mind, this is just a single region of a single platform of a single product category. Currently, GPUs are incredibly hard to shop for. Both new and used GPUs sell for in excess of 100% of their MSRP, including products that might be a year or two old. So often consumers are left with nothing but bad choices. PC hardware enthusiasts are also already privy to using many other online shopping tools, such as PC Part Picker, Honey, and Ozbargain. So they're open to adopting our platform to help us grow. The example you saw earlier is our MVP, and it's available today at acquiresand.com. We have additional features coming, such as a prettier UI, trend graphs, localization, and more. We're asking for $50,000 in seed funding to launch our product to market via a tech influencer marketing campaign, which we believe is the best way to get our product into the hands of the consumers that need it most. From there, we hope to naturally branch out from GPUs into consumer electronics as our product's validated by real-world use. Think iPhones, laptops, TVs. Think Acquire Sand. Thanks.
That's yours. Thanks, Matthew. Well done. Another software developer. Questions for the judges? No? Sounded like a niche, you could say, product, an offering, but you are diversifying. You also touched on your business. So the question is more about the business model, actually. So the business model, can you explain that?
Yeah.
So you're making money off the clip, like between the supplier and the purchaser?
So we're affiliated with online retailers such as eBay and Amazon offer an affiliate program. So basically, when we link to products on their website, it has a little referral ID on that transaction. So if they go through and buy that product, we get a small kickback between 2 and 5% of what they spend. That's pretty much true for all online retailers.
Yeah, wow. And obviously this problem occurred because you were obviously looking for this, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, okay. Well done. No, thank you. That answers the question. Thank you very much. Well done. Thanks, Matthew. All right, last but not least, Team 9. I'd love to welcome Rio, who's the co-founder of RDF Energy. Welcome, Rio.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rio Pakila, and I'm a co-founder of RDF Energy. So RDF Energy is an alternative energy developer with a very exciting and new outlook to convert waste to fuel that can supplement and replace fossil fuel. We have enormous global challenges with waste, where the world generates 2 billion tons of waste every year, and over 40% goes to our landfill. Converting waste to fuel is not new, it's been done. However, only general household and commercial waste that can be converted. We have developed and engineered the process within our integrated waste management processing plant to reclaim and convert the all in situ landfill by excavation and mining the below ground waste. Our process is so unique that we've been advised by a patent attorney to apply for trade secret for lifetime protection. There's no emission produced in our process because we don't burn the waste, and also our fuel is 11 times less expensive than diesel. Looking at our market size, in Australia alone, we generate 20 million tons of waste that goes to our landfill. And with what we have now, we can turn 1 million tons of landfill into $42 million in return. And right now, we see zero value from our landfill. Our business model, we will be working closely with local council, where we charge and accept, we charge a gate fee for the landfill waste. And this cost is far lower than the amount spent to dispose the waste. We then sell our end fuel to our end customer, such as cement manufacturer. To this date, we have received very positive inquiry and interest. Our main traction in Thailand, where we have secured supply buyer agreement together with landfill access, making it a ready-to-go project. In Perth, we have ongoing discussion with several and numerous local council. All have shown interest to have the project in Perth. We also are very excited to have finally to secure a partnership with a waste management company. And we have the founders, team, and partners with the expertise, experience, skill to make this happen. We are seeking $2.5 million in initial funding. We will use this initial fund for our initial operation and to move the project to the next milestone. Our projection, within 3 years, we will have 5 plants already in operation, with each plant can generate net income of $3.7 million every year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very exciting times. Not only it's a $1 billion opportunity, but also an opportunity to impact 1 billion of people. I'm looking forward for all of you to be part of this. Thank you, and no time to waste.
Well done. Thanks. Oh, you got one. Cool. Thank you. Okay, you've already got the mic. Cool, right.
All right, I think, yeah, well done. Question, 2.5 million ask, that's quite a large ask. So is your expectation you will be able to get that in one hit, or are you looking at having a strategy where there'll be multiple people and stakeholders in doing that? And, you know, basically, how are you looking at achieving the 2.5 million? And I suppose a side question to that is, can you start before you get to the 2.5 million? So can you progress, or do you need to get 2.5 million before you can actually get going?
Yeah, great question. So the 2.5 million, how we're going to achieve that? So that 2.5 million is actually the initial seed funding, and that 2.5 million will get the initial operations, but not the plan. But it will get us all the contract, the license, all the team that we need. And from there, we will have a series of funding where it can be up to 2 or 3 series of funding. Hope that answer. Thank you.
Well done, Rio. And that concludes our pitches. So let's do one more round of applause for all our students for pitching today. Well done. So now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges have got the tough job to go away now for the next 25-30 minutes you've got to deliberate and choose a winner. Tough one. So you'll join us back in about 25-30 minutes. But for our audience, what we've got for you is pretty special. Got a panel here that I'm going to bring up on stage in a minute, which I'm going to facilitate to talk about how do we build startups that last. And I've got an awesome panel that's going to join me. But as they're coming up onto stage, what we'll do is maybe stretch the legs for 2 minutes, bathroom break, grab a drink, and come back. So we go 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, get everyone to stretch legs and come back, and our panel will be ready to go. Thank you. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I can get you to take your seat, grab a drink, and then we'll get started. Got an awesome panel we've set up. Thanks, everybody. All right, yeah, so welcome, everybody, and thanks to our panelists for joining us today. This is really special because we've got a really good mix of founders here on the couch. And our theme is, how to build a startup that lasts. And really, given the circumstances and the events that's been happening around us, businesses closing and failing and so forth, this is a really timely topic, I believe. So I'm really intrigued to hear from our founders on the panel about how to build a business that lasts. So I'm going to ask you some questions around that today. So I'm actually going to get you, put you on the spot, and get you all. So I'll introduce you, but get you to do your 30-second pitch of what you do. Yeah. So to my left here, I have Beck Thompson. Beck Thompson is actually a Launchpad alumni, and actually our new student entrepreneur in residence, which is, I believe, the first for a university in Perth to actually have a student entrepreneur in residence. So, Beck, well done, and thanks for joining us today, who is the founder of Sandbar Co. Yeah? I've got Chris Evans to my left, who's the founder of Quipmo. Now, you would have seen Chris surely in the news. Chris has just raised some money as well, which is really nice to have, isn't it? Who's the founder of Quipmo and had an association with Murdoch as well in the past. So thank you for joining us. And Busy Imanati, have I said it right? Yeah. The founder of Passionate Professionals. Thank you for joining us as well on the panel. And Kimberly Q, the founder of Bubs First. Thank you for joining us as well today. So let's get started. Tell us in 30 seconds, and I might just start with Chris then. Give Beck a breather. 30 seconds, tell us what is Quipmo?
Certainly. So Quipmo is a surf, bike and snow peer-to-peer gear rental marketplace for locals and travellers alike. So we enable both individuals and existing hire businesses to list their gear up on the platform and then rent it out for people who are chasing adventure. And our mission is simple. It's to help people do more of what they love more often.
Wow, that was under 30 seconds and that was very well refined, mate. Now I know why you raised all that money. Well, gee. Wow. Busy.
So Passionate Professionals is really about unleashing greatness within. So it's a leadership consulting and coaching company. And what I do really is to work with professionals, leaders, and teams. And it's really about how do we create a place where we can grow, unleash the growth mindset, and bring all of your best to work. So that's what I do with my clients.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Busy.
Thank you.
Kimberly.
So 6 years ago, my sister and I designed a baby change mat cover, which was half minky at the top, which is warm and soft for bub, and half wipeable down the bottom. So you could wipe up any messes fast and fuss-free. And then since then, we've just added on other products for babies, which we think help mums, because I'm a mum of 2. So that's what I do.
Yeah, as a parent, totally get that. Thanks, Kimberly. Beck, Sandbar.
Okay, I want you to imagine that you're at the beach. You've just spent $6 on a hot, nice coffee. You found the perfect place to sit down. You put your coffee in the sand and it falls over. You put your bag down and it just fills up with sand. You think, I'm just gonna go for a swim. So you take off your sunnies and you just have nowhere to put them. And you think, oh, I better hide them under my towel so they don't get stolen. You run out, go for a swim, cool off, pun intended, come back. Your sunnies are scratched, your coffee's fallen over, your phone's overheated from the sun. Well, I've got the solution for you. Sandbar. Sandbar is a lightweight, compact and fold-up beach table designed to store all your valuables while you're at the beach. It's got a mesh surface so the sand will fall through and the wind can't blow it up. It's got a compartment to store your valuables and it's got 2 drink holders if you want to bring a cheeky little wine down to the beach. Sandbar is also made here in Perth.
Pitch alumni.
Yes,
that's it.
Well
that's
done.
the way.
I want to buy one now. But anyway, okay. So anyway, let's get started. Thank you all for that. That was well done. Thank you. Okay. I'm just going to throw some questions. I'm looking at Chris, but I actually want to ask Kimberly this question. What's been the biggest challenge getting your business off the ground?
When we first started, it was getting the prototype. We were trying to design something that wasn't available in the market, but we knew it needed to be there because there was too much washing. When you have children, please come to me. Stylish and essential for every nursery. You need these change mat covers. So that was the beginning, was trying to find the prototype, and then it was getting the patent for it. And then over the time, it's just a giant learning curve when you have your own business.
And can I just follow on?
Yeah.
Have you self-funded through
Yes.
that process, or you're self-funded?
Yes.
And you haven't raised any capital since?
No.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Mm.
Well done. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to throw to Chris. Because I've witnessed this gentleman's journey from afar, and I think you're one of the most resilient, founders out there over the years and watching your journey with Quipmo. So this question for you, have there been times where you felt like giving up, and how did you overcome it?
Firstly, thank you for your very kind words. It's appreciated. Look, trying to build a travel and leisure tech startup in the middle of a global pandemic is not without its challenge.
Yeah.
And it's I think and anyone would attest, and I'm sure people in the audience have had similar experiences as well. Creating a business is not easy, and the majority of the time it's doors being closed, but that's part of the journey. So certainly there's been periods where I ask myself, there's certainly easier paths in life than I have taken, and I come from a corporate background, and that affords all sorts of easier opportunities. But I suppose the thing that I always come to fall back on is the fact that I chose this path. Now, that was obviously pre-COVID, which does it.
Curveball.
Yes, but I chose this path, and when you're in the trenches, the best place to keep going, is to put your head down and take. Sometimes your steps are more a shuffle rather than giant strides, but that's okay. You just move forward as best you can and continue to forge ahead as best you can with your determination and your efforts.
And a follow-on just on that. So what are some personal things that you did as a founder to help you get through those challenges, and especially COVID, especially for our young entrepreneurs that will experience maybe not another pandemic, but just certainly tough times? Anything personal that you can share in terms of tips or things that helped you?
Yeah, I suppose the thing is this probably occurred after the fact to a certain extent, but it's tempering enthusiasm before deals are signed. Because you can get really, really close to amazing deals that are company changing, a company making, or whatever it might be, and things can fall over at the 11th hour and 59th minute, and it's not setting yourself up with having banked the checks before they've been written. So I think for me it's being about being more modest in expectation until things have been accomplished, because things change, and for fair reasons. They don't progress. So it's celebrating the small wins when you get them, but don't celebrate until those wins have actually occurred.
No, thank you. And great advice. I'm going to ask all the panelists this question, actually, and we'll start with Beck. What's been your biggest learning curve you've experienced in building a business?
That was the one question. I was like, biggest learning curve? The whole thing's a learning curve.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the biggest learning curve, I guess, is trusting in myself and my own instincts with things. With business, there's so many transactions going on, and you're dealing with so many people, and having that strong communication and knowing exactly what your expectations are with things. That's been a big learning curve for me, knowing exactly what I want from different business relationships, and then following through with that. Going back to the question before about things being challenging, is manufacturing for me has been really challenging because they're handmade products here in Perth. They're expensive, they're time consuming. What I've learned from that is that I should have had things in place better for me But I've learnt from that, and I guess I wouldn't change what I've done, but I know what I would do going forward. So, yeah.
Actually, I should have mentioned before, this is actually your second dance in terms of starting a business, a sandbar.
Yes.
Your previous business you started and then sold.
Yes.
Anything you want to share around that? Because that was an experience, because you actually exited that business. Anything you want to share around that in terms of learning?
What I learned from, so I had a raw dessert company.
Yeah.
I started it 6-7 years ago. Within 2 weeks, I was at 2 cafes and quit my full-time job. I was at 25 cafes within the year, and it was awesome. And I guess what I learned from that was that your passion can take you anywhere. I was so passionate about what I did, and then it got to a point where I was like, oh, this isn't sustainable. I'm a one-man person here, and I cannot keep up with this. So I had to make that call and know exactly where I wanted to end, and I decided to sell it while raw desserts were at their peak. So yeah, I guess knowing when things get too much and knowing what is best for you mentally, physically, everything, and not stressing yourself out. We've still got to enjoy what we're doing. And not that I wasn't enjoying it, but I knew that it was going to get to a point where it was just too much and I wouldn't be able to balance my life properly.
Awesome. Yeah. And as founders, there's always a statement that we throw around, which is timing is everything. Timing is everything. So anyway, thank you for that, Beck. Kimberly, what's been your biggest learning curve starting
Beck
Bubs
said,
first?
There are so many, but you can only control what you do. You can't control anything outside of it. And things for me have always taken longer than I think they're going to take, so just start. You can do so much in half an hour. I have 2 kids, 1 under 2, and half an hour a day is better than doing a full week's worth of smashing on everything. So I think, the learning curve for me has just been, you can control what you can control, Kim. Do that half an hour consistently, and the results really do add up.
Love that. Half an hour consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds up. All right. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Busy.
So my biggest learning curve, I think I have a lot actually.
'Cause you're still studying. Sorry, I must say, you're also still studying as well, aren't you? You're working.
No.
So
working.
working.
I teach at Murdoch, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I teach at Murdoch
Teaching,
and run my consulting and have a family. So the juggle, right? But the biggest learning curve for me is really letting myself go. So I had nursed this idea for such a long time that I thought, would this be good enough? So the good enough, the limiting belief around, how would people perceive this? And also coming from an academic perspective, it was a juggle around, do I want to stay academic or do I want to combine both together? So the learning curve for me was, how do you let yourself go and be out there and really profess what you love to do? So that's it for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Busy. Chris.
I suppose I echo a lot of the sentiments that have already been said by the panel now. In terms of making peace with it, you can only do what you're in control of, and also that timing is everything. I suppose the other point to make for me is just the only other thing that is in your control is endurance and tenacity. If you believe in something, then you need to forge ahead despite what others will say, and for every person who supports you, there'll be 1,000 knockers, and that's okay, because you're trying to crack the sky. You're trying to change the way the world goes about things. So if you believe in it, forge ahead, but be prepared for a long path and a long road, and hopefully you'll be rewarded accordingly.
Thank you. Some really good nuggets there. Timing is everything. Mindset is everything as well. So I'm going to throw it Busy for this one. How can entrepreneurs develop their mindset to keep them going when times are tough? How do they do that?
It's really about surrounding yourself with the right people. I guess it's who are you surrounding yourself with and being mindful of that, because your company really determines how much you go in life, really. I think there's a quote around the sum total of the people you surround yourself with. So really making sure that you have right people that can speak into your life and really elevate your consciousness is really important. So coach mentoring, but also I think if you're wanting to do it yourself, would be around really rethinking your why, reviewing your why. And really, I think one of the things I do is really to write it down again. Why am I in this? And actually consciously doing it all the time, because that would give you the energy to keep going. So review your why. What are you saying to yourself? What's your mental narrative when things are tough? What are you saying to yourself? What conversations are you honoring? What conversations have you subscribed to? Because when things go tough, you start to have those negative conversations. You start to have those negative mental narratives. So it's really about what conversations are you planting? What seeds are you planting into your thoughts? Because you eventually will manifest that. So review what you're saying to yourself, and then if you need to reinvent, do reinvent. If you need to, pivot, actually think about that as well. So those are the 3 things I would say.
Thank you. I like the why. I think the why is really important with all founders. I had a young entrepreneur ask me, do you ever think about quitting and stuff? And I said, yeah, at least once a year. And I've been doing this for 17 years. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, how? It doesn't get easier. So that's really important, I think. And that's what helps me is, always go back to, the why. Why you actually do this? So that's, from a mindset point of view, a really important thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah,
the why we're doing this all. Does anyone else want to have a crack at that as well?
Mine's the same.
Same,
I
yeah.
remember why I started, what my purpose was, and I also know that there's always going to be the challenges, and you are going to make mistakes, and that is okay to make mistakes. That's like my biggest thing. That's fine. And if you can seek help and guidance and listen to people, and as I know you all have done, is validate your ideas, validate things, get advice, talk to people. You don't have to take what they say and do it, but you can listen, and then you can make the decision. So that for me has been huge, is getting that support from people, and then celebrate your wins every time, because there'll be the little things you've just got to take away and run with, because that's what keeps us going. Absolutely. Is those little wins.
Awesome, so true. Kim? No?
I mean, it might sound a bit, but I meditate and I journal, and then I write down and I go, this is what my business is going to look like, and then that's what I'm kind of aiming for. So yes, you're finding the solution for why you're doing what you're doing, but then try and put it out there what you want from it as well. And it just helps to clear out the mind in those hard times. Yeah,
that visualization thing is a big thing. It actually works. It sounds cliche, doesn't it? But it actually works.
Sounds a bit woo-woo, but
yeah, no, but it does actually work. If you don't
we
visualize
disagree.
it, hey, yes. Yep, 100%. Thank you for that. Cool. Okay, next question. So, as founders, we always know you can't build a business without a team. How do we get our team, the right team, along the journey to build a business that lasts? So what are we looking for in terms of what sort of advice can you give to the audience about growing a team and taking them on the journey to last? Chris, I'm looking at you, but yeah. In terms of team, what advice can you give in terms of growing a team? So we're talking about culture, versus skill set, hiring, so forth, having the right people.
Yeah, I suppose from a personal philosophy, I think there's probably a couple of things that I look at. Is first and foremost, you need someone who's going to be there in the good times and also when there's challenge, and who you're going to want side by side by you when there's the tough times. Everyone's a champion. Everyone's full of beans when there's a win, but when there's challenges, who do you want to be racking your brain with? Who do you want to be stressed out of your mind with? Going, how do we do this together? I think the other thing for me is I'm really devoted to doing everything I possibly can to be the dumbest person in the room. I want to work with people who bring their own intellectual creativity, their own enterprise, their own capability and IQ to the table to solve problems, because it simply means that we can ask better questions. So for me, it's really being devoted to going, how can we create a team where the sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts?
Awesome. I might just keep flying through unless anyone else wanted it. That's pretty much, what he said. Yeah. No, that's good. Thank you very much, Chris. I might throw to Kim for this one. What advice would you give for those that are juggling other commitments, i.e. work, family, kids, while you're trying to get a startup off the ground?
Can I reiterate what I said before?
Yeah, and more if you want.
Half an hour a day is all you need. That is my biggest thing, consistency over a whole smashing worth of a week's worth of work, because For me, that's the only way I can sometimes get things done, and do things that you're passionate about. And if you don't like them, you don't have to do them. You can outsource them. We live in this amazing world now where we can get a lot of people who are a lot better at the things to do those things for us. So let's do that. I don't like doing things I don't like doing, so I will.
Amen.
I already have to do those things, like why I do nappies and all things, love my children, and I have to do those things. So if I don't have to do it in my business, I'm not going to do it.
I'm starting to like that half an hour thing. Can I ask, is that half an hour, is it set half an hour every day, or is it just, it could be half an hour at 3 o'clock, half an hour? You know,
Half an hour whenever. Whenever you think, I want to do this right now, I call it aligned action, you know, when you feel like this is the time I'm going to just zone out and this is the task that I want to get to, then. But I mean, I'm 6 years in the business now, so it does flow quite differently to when it did when I first started. When you first start, you're in the trenches a bit.
Of course, you're doing everything. Yep. Thank you. Busy, I might throw it for you as well. I know in terms of juggling, work, family, kids.
Yeah, it's a juggle, pretty much. But what I tend to do is really to write down what's my most important things. So I call it my MITs. You know, so I have MITs in my family, MITs in, you know, career-wise, but MITs in my business. And so I devote my time to actually look at those MITs and do them. So what are my 3 MITs? So that really works for me. You know, you may want to try that out and see if it works for you, but also look at the 20% that can give you 80% results. You know, so, and that I do that as well. So, but I second what you said. If you can find 30 minutes a day or 1 hour a day, and for me, it's also about, I like to work in the morning. So you've got to figure out what works best for you. Do you like mornings? Do you like evenings? Do you like afternoons? And then juggle in between. That's how I do it.
No, thank you. In fact, we were just talking before, Chris and someone else, I think it was Shill, about when we actually talk to each other and we say, how you going? And they say, yeah, I'm good. We don't really mean it's good. We know exactly what it means. You're juggling, you're spinning 6 plates at a time. That's what good means as a founder when they say I'm good. But anyway, yeah, it is a real juggle, and that's part of being an entrepreneur. That's why we choose it. That's why we do it. But it is a spinning plates juggling act, circus. Thank you for that. Thank you. We might just keep going. How are we going for time, Jen? How's the judges going? Still need a bit more time? They're taking a very long time. Tell them JC said. Okay, no worries. Thank you. Okay, this is an easy one, and I'm going to ask you all of it. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur? Chris.
That's a good question. For me, I think it's the opportunity of pouring your heart and soul into your why. Like it's you can actually give everything, regardless of how it plays out. You can truly devote yourself and give yourself and do everything you possibly can to change the world for the better. And it doesn't matter what your innovation is or your approach is. You know, everyone's at the end of the day trying to improve the world for everyone and all of humanity. So yeah, for me that's probably most powerful.
Thank you. Busy.
What's the question again?
She loves your answer so much.
I got lost in it.
Gee, what's the best thing about being an entrepreneur?
It's the ability to be able to create something from nothing. And you see the creation in the world impacting people and changing people's lives. And that's the best thing for me. It's just to see people come back with testimonials and things they would never have achieved.
So the impact.
Yeah, the impact, absolutely. Yep. So that's one of the best things for me.
Thanks, Busy. Kimberly?
Definitely think it's, you know, providing that solution and making something from nothing. Flexibility for me is a big thing because I want to do things when I want to do them. And it is nice, it's probably not kosher to say it, but it's nice to make money when you sleep. Like, it's nice for that to happen when you're not having to do the things.
No one's disagreeing in the audience, trust me.
But yeah, that's nice as well. Just knowing that that's all happening and you don't have to physically be at a place. It's great.
Awesome, thank you. Beck?
Mine would be, it's so rewarding and it's super exciting every single morning to wake up and have no idea what opportunities are about to come your way, and it's just, yeah, it's an exciting process, and it's really rewarding, and yeah, it's just exciting.
Awesome, thanks. Well, that's kind of my next question, which is what excites you about the future as a founder. But while you're doing that, I might actually go off script, and actually, if we can get a mic going while we ask this question, I might take some questions from the audience as well. Yeah, if you just raise your hand, we'll get a mic going. Hey, Charlie, thanks for joining too. I know Charlie will ask, yeah, I just knew. Exactly. So, Charlie, for the panel. Yeah, thank you.
Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
Charlie from Startup News. What's your biggest mistake? Why did you make it? And what did you learn from it?
Anyone in particular?
Everyone makes mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes.
Was it directed at anyone in particular, Charlie? Just anyone? Yep. Let's have a go. Good question. Yeah. Because there's too many.
Yeah, think of you.
Which one am I going to tell the audience about?
We got a supplier once who, we got them before one of our peak periods, and we had patterns going down on, so the change mat covers like this big, and the patterns were supposed to go across and they went down on everything. So they were incorrect, like 1,000 of them, all wrong just before our launch time. So that was fun. So don't get a different supplier just before you've got a very big sales time. Don't do that. Yeah.
And how did you overcome it? You just...
We yelled, no. We spoke to them, communicated, and were able to get it. And we just did pre-order sales, which we then learned how to do pre-order on our website, which we'd never done before, which is now great, because when we run out, that is it, Charlie.
People crowdfund with that pre-sale.
They do.
It's a new way of doing things. Awesome. Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, anyone else want to answer that for Charlie? Beck?
I once, like for Sandbar, I made about 8 prototypes before we got to the final design. And in that, the actual design came from a man at a retirement village, from my grand's retirement village, called Don, and he's 85, and he made it in his men's shed. Yep. And during that process, I also had paid someone to, well, I paid Don with Bunnings gift cards, but I also paid someone to make a prototype for me, and I didn't do much research into it, and I spent a little bit too much money on a prototype with this hope and dream that this person would be able to create what was envisioned in my mind, but it did not happen like that. So yeah, I guess I made the quick realization that what's in my mind, someone else cannot understand. So I spent too much money on that, and I wasted that money, so I learned big time from that.
Thanks, Beck. The judges are back, so we'll take one question, because Ramon, you had your hand up. We've got a mic for Ramon. Thanks, Ramon, and then we'll close it.
First of all, great panel, guys, wicked stuff. I'm from Murdoch too, and founded 2 startups myself. My main question is pretty much around, especially towards the beginning of entrepreneurship, we've got the dream, but we're looking for money to make it bigger. But then once we get the money, it's sort of, there's some conditions with the money that sometimes not distorts, but complicates things. So my main question here is, especially like in the case of whether it's private seed funding or government funding, what are the main pros and cons or advice from each of you on that?
Chris, you want to have a crack at that?
So look, it's a fantastic question, and I suppose the comment I would have is when people invest in your business and your idea, they're going to have expectations, and as they should. There's alternate opportunities that they have for their capital, and obviously they're seeking to invest in you and invest in the idea and invest to make a return. So I think it's just full awareness as to what taking funds from other parties means, and it's not just a question about control, and whatever that means for an individual and a relationship, but it's also in terms of there's responsibility and obligation and commitment that comes with taking funds, and that's obviously both a significant privilege, but it's also something that you need to take very, very seriously. It's not something to be taken lightly.
Anyone else in the panel? Great question and an equally great answer. Thank you very much for that. Now, look, the judges are back and they've deliberated and come to an outcome. But ladies and gentlemen, can we please put our hands together for such an awesome panel? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for. First of all, congratulations to all the people on the front row. You were all absolutely amazing. Every time I come to these presentations each year, the standard just raises and raises and raises, and you all should be very proud of what you've been doing over the last 12 weeks. I know some of you have been doing this for a lot longer, and also what you've done tonight. We were all very, very impressed when we went and had our conversation. I'm going to start off, and we would like to give 2 honourable mentions before we announce the winner. And if you are one of the honourable mentions, please come on the stage and we'll give you your certificates and stuff. So we'll do those 2, then the winner, and then we'd also like to award everyone else with their certificates. So the first honourable mention we'd like to go to Empowered Beauty Products. Well done. And the second honourable mention goes to RDF Energy. But tonight's winner, who gets to carry a big cheque home with them, goes to a pitch that I think probably got us all, you know, very emotionally involved and was very, very powerful. And thank you for that. It goes to Project Lieve.
Well done.
Okay, so if we can ask everybody else to come up onto the stage and we'll get a photograph and the certificates all together. So we have, oh, you've got names on here, you've not got the companies, that doesn't help me. I have to try and remember now, don't I, what they're all called. So we had, okay, so Matthew. Of Acquire Sands, I do remember. Okay. Rachel, which was Ludic Learning, something like that. Luke, which was Fluency Project. Great, well done. Rejan, which was RAS. Shayna. Oh, what? Future Works, that was it. Thank you. I'm getting a prompt here. Well done. Congratulations. James, our Impact, the brave man who went first. There you go. Congratulations. Well done. Okay, so we have other people who have completed the academy who didn't present today. So, Tananjay. Jasper? Well done, Jasper. Congratulations. And lastly, Harrison. And that's going to conclude our evening, but I think we should end with one final round of applause for these wonderful people.